are pleased to share with you some thoughts on the Ripple Effect program and the big difference that it has made, that all of you together have made to help the children and the communities of Guatemala. Are you ready for change? And as we consider the Ripple Effect program, it is all about change, but it's also all about teamwork makes the dream work.
It was Peter that thought of that. It rhymed so well, he thought.
and some thoughts on this, Peter.
Well, the whole notion of the sharing and the opportunity that we've had to be part of the Ripple Effect program over the years is so encouraging to us. And having visited Guatemala on a couple of occasions, those opportunities where we see real planning making a difference, and that whole observation about making the dream work is dead on.
But that takes alignment, and when we think of how we are aligned in Rotary and we work together and we are engaged, and that helps us to really implement things so that the what we planned and thought about can really come to be the reality. And when we think about change and growth, we have to have a vision and that clear sense of purpose, direction. It doesn't happen, though, unless we really have ways of communicating. And we do that, I think, so well in Rotary. But when you think of that boat down there trying to get through that maze, and when you think of what the person in the boat can see, they can see rocks, and that's about it, rocks and water. But where are the openings? How can they get to the other side? But it's the expectation of results, but that isn't enough. Think of the person up in the balloon and what they can see and how they can give direction. Take a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left, and work your way through that maze. And really, that's what Rotary has been all about, and the Ripple Effect program and the leadership of Gord and Deb and all of us working together has really made that possible.
We looked at the Rotary themes, and as we think about Rotary themes, and there's a number of them that are gathered in the room here today, Rotary themes have been very supportive of change and growth. And if one thinks about the theme in 99-2000 that Joanne and I know so well, and we quote in our before we go to bed at night. Rotary 2000, act with consistency, credibility, and continuity. And those are three pillars that are undergirding the Ripple Effect program, if one thinks about that over the long term. We have also the district governor, who happened to be Peter, 2017 and 18, where they flew the banner of Rotary making a difference, really a strong component, and we've heard Peter spew about that to a large degree, because that's the standard on which he moves forward. And then we wanted to also recognize that there was a district governor in Kenora who advocated that Rotary connects the world in 2019 and 20. And I want to acknowledge also the fact that Brian Cox, who flew by the banner of something about loving everybody. Brian, you correct that for me, won't you? But all of those themes work together to ensure that we go forward in a keel that we all understand from nation to nation and around the world.
If you just excuse me for a minute. When Brian was district governor, we had this one. Sow the seeds
of love. Yes, we did. And you were you were an assistant governor.
I was yes, and I was the president of our club on that year, I believe. And so thank you, Peter, for sharing that. When we think of how an organization grows, and we think of the ripple effect program, a comparison with business, and when someone starts something new, a new business, it's really the business architect. And when we start that project, a project in Rotary, we are designing and constructing a building of service activity.
If we wanted to just take a little bit of look at the architect of the program, this program, the Ripple Effect program, and it started, as the slide suggests, it started with flowers because it was Kim Hanneman, who was a flower importer in Winnipeg, who worked with a nice gentleman in Guatemala by the name of Mauricio Sedano. And Sedano was concerned about the level of education that the children of his workers. He had a rose farm and an exporter of flowers, and he was concerned about the education of the people, of his workers, their education. And what he saw as being important was a school in that community. And the interesting thing about that whole thing, and it goes on a lot longer than that, but Kim was also the youth group leader of the St. Andrew's United Church. And their youth from that school visited Guatemala, saw the children, and they raised money to build that first school. That was a pre-Ripple Effect school that was built. And that, together with Larry Penner and Gail and Alex and Gail Zaranitsky from Winnipeg West, were sort of the people that made the Ripple Effect program, that the architects of that program that we enjoy today. An interesting start that started with Kim Hanneman, who wasn't a Rotarian, but joined Rotary and helped to make this program into what it is now.
And so when we think of that early start, but so many things that we start don't move beyond that first initiative. But when we see things where at the right time, and we do it in the right way, a project will not only survive, but it thrives. And that's what happened with the Ripple Effect program. And you see that little house in front that the architect first of all built, but now it's a bigger organization. And that's all because we have builders and protectors, those who build and see new initiatives and really grasp those opportunities. Then there are the protectors that say, oh, let's not go too fast. And we had some people in our club that said, oh, we've done enough of that. Now it's time for change. And we said, no, we can't do everything, but if we focus, we can make it happen. And the Ripple Effect program is so successful because of that balance. And even now, as we think of what can we do, where should we be a little cautious, how should we move forward? And so we think of that builder mindset and leaders in our Ripple Effect program, as Peter was mentioning about the early starters, Gail and Alex Zaranitsky and the ones before, and then Gord and Deb, how they've helped to bring things continually forward, and really we serve to change lives. And I'm sorry, my slide got stuck here. There we go. But you know, we say that change brings growth, but also growth brings change. And as we've seen the Ripple Effect program grow, we've really had to adapt and do things differently. And there have been new initiatives that have come forward. And yet we can't do everything.
We take, if we understand correctly, there are some 17,000 schools in Guatemala. And well, that seems like quite a few. That's a lot of schools. And we take solace then from Mother Teresa's observation that if you can't feed 1,000 people, then feed one. Feed one. And so that's what we have, the potential simply to to provide hope and opportunity by building one at a time, and it moves forward. Thanks, Peter. And so, go ahead.
Go ahead, Peter.
And so in 1999, the Ripple Effect program was started, and it was started then by that one club, one project. But then, as Peter said, change enables growth. And moving from a project to a program focus was a big deal. A lot of that came about because we identified that by doing simply projects, and we build a well here and another well there and another well there, and it's simply, we don't do anything in a consistent basis, that it turned out that after 3 or 5 years, the wells that we built weren't 70% of them weren't functioning anymore. So we needed to expand it from simply doing projects to understanding the program focus. And that was a tough learning position. And the thing that I think turned it in, I believe, that turned it in Canada for sure, within the Canadian Rotary community, was the Ripple Effect program, because it had program in mind as it was being built, and it has strong leadership, consistently had strong leadership and a dedicated team that sort of moves that forward, and that all made the difference.
And when you think of that, we have to think of Alice in Wonderland. And when she got there, she said, the cat said, Alice, tell me, please, which way do you, or Alice went on and said, which way do we go from here? And that depends on where you want to get to, said the cat. I don't much care where, said Alice. Then it doesn't matter which way you go. And yet that vision and the importance of that vision, just like the cat said, where do you want to go? And we had that leadership and that vision very early on.
Well, the Ripple Effect program started in 2000 or in 2000, 99, 2000. In 2009, Peter and Janet Neufeldt and Margaret and I went to Guatemala. And at that point, it was about school building. And we went, our school, the Eastview School, was up at Cholowitz, and it was sort of on the side of a mountain. It was up the hill of quite a ways. When we got there in 2009, we were blocked by this truck, because they were putting the road up to the school was just one, in the rainy season, was impassable. And so they were putting up, they don't concrete the whole road, they concrete 2 tracks. And that's what they were doing. They were making the school accessible 20 or 12 months of the year by this activity. It was a community initiative. It wasn't the school, it was a community initiative to make the school function. That was at Cholowitz. And right next door, when we left this particular school site and headed for another one, and it was at Corcho, there was another school being built. Wasn't there, Peter? Wasn't there, Peter?
There was. And here's another road.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, Peter.
Well, this was on the way to a school that we were taking a look at. There was no commitments. We were just looking at schools. I think they were laying this out for Peter and Janet, Margaret and I, just to see how good they were and how committed they were to the program. Because just past this section where we can see the rocks being laid, where children were strategically located every 10 yards, and they were waving Canadian flags. It has to do with the power of a partnership with Rotarians. Gord mentioned in the introduction that Regina Eastview has spent on all their projects largely have been involved with the Rotary Club of Ratalu. And that relationship has been so heartwarming. This was our first meeting. The Sholowitz School was built and Winnipeg West tutored us through that process. And we were so warmly received that we couldn't leave them alone, and we've continued to function with them. A great group of people. That power of partnership has been extended to a host of things across the Guatemalan and the Canadian scene, from the Rotary Foundation to the Government of Canada to FUNCEPA, and we'll hear a little bit more about them later. They're a Guatemalan charity. The cement factory, Gord, we forgot the name of it, didn't have time to look it up. But you're going to tell us that at the end here. That important meeting that the Zaranitskis had, and that Gord and Deb carry out every year with the Ministry of Education and the partnership that we've developed there. Communities across Canada and Guatemala, and all the donors that sit in the room there or in our rooms across the country listening in on this story, and that make a difference to the development of our educational program in Guatemala.
And then when we think of the difference, this is one of the kitchens that we saw in Guatemala. The government provides some food for the communities to prepare meals for the children. You can imagine how creative those meals are, and when you see the smoke and everything that the ladies work in, not a very healthy environment. As a result of the Ripple Effect program and the funds that you folks have provided, this is one of the new kitchens. Teamwork and service. Look how they're laughing in that top left-hand one, working hard in the bottom one, and certainly it's teamwork that makes the dream work. Just amazing. and then they got to saying, hey, you know what, that rice that we get from the government, that's not enough. We can grow some gardens and get some veggies in here. And they did that. And in a number of communities, they not only grow then vegetables for the school, but even to sell, and some whole new businesses have started. But we see the old Secretariat School, and you can see the outside, and then you can see in the bottom some of the pictures. You can see the sunrise shining through the bamboo slats as the children are sitting there trying to learn. The community of El Corcho, pardon me, really came together when we were there and wanted to plead their case. They had seen what can happen with the Ripple Effect program. They wanted a new school, and they came from, I'm not sure how far away, but this lady here on the left, a Mayan lady, she couldn't speak Spanish. She spoke in Mayan and told the story, and from Mayan it was translated to Spanish, from Spanish to English, said we could understand. She asked, please. And you can see the little boy right next to her. He was mostly holding her hand. They were begging for school. And here we see another old school and the new, from this to this.
And then to this. The old outdoor toilets, this little child standing over on the right side. He's not sure he wants to go in the one with the door or the one without the door. And so that is the bathroom challenge for so many students, and it keeps girl children particularly away from coming to school. It's a step above open defecation, but not by far. Back up one, just that one there, Peter. I just want to say that this one has moved forward a little bit. It has doors on it. It has a toilet in it, and it looks like it could have running water over on the left side. But let's just flip that one more picture, Peter. And this is a new washroom that has a tiled floor, nice doors. It has a flush toilets, if we see the next one, which is really important. But in addition to that, it has wash stations for different sized children, which is a significant enhancement from what those children had before. Really a significant development for, and then we move to the amenities of the school. An earlier picture that was flashed across the screen, there was the old school, and it was nothing but barren all around. And this isn't the same site. Of course it isn't. But the people have taken an altogether different approach to what does it mean to have, to demonstrate our commitment to our children. It changes life.
And this is demonstration for the Mayan lady who was pleading for a school. Her children can now go to one of these schools.
Yep, good point.
And so we have a new classroom. Look how different. And the kids just eager to learn. As we were there, this gentleman was, pardon me for these skipping ahead there. He was thanking us for making it possible for their children to learn to read and write. He says they can't, as demonstrated by their thumbprints as signatures on a document, but their kids could sign. And here is another opening of a new school. And we've seen so many of those and real celebrations when the new schools are opened.
Computers has been really a significant enhancement. We talked earlier about the Fonsepa charity providing reconditioned computers. We've had a goal for Guatuan, installed 17 computers in 12 schools, and a goal for Guatu, installed 17 computers in 20 schools. And a Guat 3 is in the building stage, and are looking. It would be a sort of a duplication of what has happened in Guat 2. In addition to that, there was another school that saw how good computers were, and I think it was at the Scholwitz School that they now were able to convince their municipality or their mayor that that's really what they needed in their school. So they also had computers. This is just a significant development in the whole technology area, and there it is, graduation. What an achievement. Sort of understand that those 12 years was really worth it. And the ripple effect has been influential in the scholarships that they have created for students that are in grades 7, 8, 9, and this is from 11 and 12, or 10, 11, and 12. Really an important aspect of the ripple effect program.
And I would just say I can't see everybody that is there, but I just want to welcome Beatrice. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Beatrice.
Hello.
And when we say what is our biggest challenge to greater service success, and I would say that is communication and having a vision and working together to achieve that vision. So here we are in 2021. where will we be in 3 years or 5 years from now? We have, the vision being that picture of where we will go. And the current vision that we have described for the Ripple Effect program is Rotarians and partners changing lives through enhanced educational opportunities for children living in challenging environments in Guatemala. And it has just been so wonderful to build the relationships and partnerships with all the folks in Guatemala and the folks in Canada. And so we see that vision from 3 to 5 years from now. How will that change? What will that be as the sun comes up and rises and we're working there together? One of the things that requires, of course, is some good leadership. And we want to thank Gord and Deb for your leadership.
Yeah. They are our heroes. They are our heroes.
So whether it's the Ripple Effect program or ending polio, it's all making a difference.
Alignment. Peter mentioned that at the beginning of the presentation of our conversation, and we take some direction from geese. I'm a cyclist. I do most of my cycling by myself, and in Saskatchewan, cycling in the wind is really not nice unless you're going with it. However, when I did my 20th cycle with the MS fundraiser this year, my daughter and we did our 100 kilometers, and we did that together. And we drafted. So we learned from the geese that if you draft, you can go farther and faster than you can all alone. You can go farther and faster. And that's what Rotarians do. We line ourselves up like geese, and we move things around to make a difference in the world.
And so we always come to what are the initiatives? What are the next steps we have to take? Those critical initiatives that are going to move us forward. We have hope together by working together. There are opportunities. We build schools. And that ripple effect of love continues as we move forward. And we want to thank all of you for lending a hand, for being part of this, for working together and making a difference. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share, but more of all, for working together over the years to make a difference.
And here are the next steps. Peter builds like this. You see, he's going into the clouds. We don't know where it's going to go right now, but he's going to lead us in a direction. And we know, of course, that having taken one step, it doesn't get us anywhere until we take the second and the third and the fourth. We need to follow up with our next step. And I join Peter in looking forward to continuing to do that together with you, with all of you.
And we have thanked Gord and Deb. We thank you for your leadership. We want to thank all of you because each one is a leader in their own area, and together, it's not their own area, it's all working together. And that is the strength of the Ripple Effect program. And we look forward to many more years of doing this together.